Hello. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? I'm assuming you can. Hello. Okay, I can hear myself. So if you guys can hear me, go ahead and leave messages in the chat. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Well, there's my voice. Can you guys hear me? Having a ton of streaming issues, or with quotations. So first thing you'll notice is that there are images on the screen. Any sounds you hear are probably my computer, but I've shut off sound by now. There is a slight delay in me actually saying things live and you guys hearing it as per usual. So what was I saying? I'm having a handful of streaming issues. First of all, my webcam does not seem to want to show up on anything, so you guys aren't going to be able to see my ugly mug tonight. You're going to see these two images of Woody I've put up. One of them is the HD Sheriff Woody image, and the other is old concept art design things of Woody. There's some weird messages that keep popping up, but it says I've got a good connection, so hopefully you guys can hear me and there's not too much buffering. Remember, if anything's going on with a live stream, you can always just throw a comment into that chat there and you'll be able to communicate with me. I can obviously see what you guys are going to say. And I am trying to see how many people actually show up. So far there's 4 concurrent viewers. So I'll say hello to Marcos, Bruno, and Demon Ick Waffle. Demonic Waffle. I know how to read. So many pop-ups. Yeah, so I did not know that YouTube requires you to have a streaming software for you to stream on YouTube. I kind of thought by this point YouTube would have had a built-in system to click a couple buttons, and boom, you're streaming. My little guy's buffering a little bit here, so hopefully that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of the comments that have been posted on the video I uploaded just a little bit earlier. And I'm also going to read comments that are popping up in this chat. So I got 2 questions here already. I guess I'll read those first before more pop up. The first one says, how's things going out there? Well, aside from all the streaming problems, I guess, things are going pretty good. Had a pretty good day. Nothing too exciting, but, just hanging out around the house. I got the house to myself for a little bit, so I'll just be on here until further notice. I won't be on here too long, but I did want to answer a few questions that you guys might have. Um, are you going to do more Toy Story characters replicas? I am going to do. Really, I'm going to keep it minimum. To a minimum, I should say. Um, so, Woody is a big project because I've always wanted to do this Woody doll. I've wanted a Woody doll like the one in the movie since I was a small child, and this has been a passion of mine since I was a little kid that I wanted this Woody um, to be like he is in the movies. So that is kind of the whole reason I'm going way out of my way to make this happen. It's something I've wanted since I was a little kid, and I'm definitely going above and beyond to make that happen. Mr. Potato Head is also on the same boat as Woody for me. I've always wanted a Mr. Potato Head exactly like the one in the movies. To be completely honest, the Toy Story Collection one was really bittersweet. It's a phenomenal toy on its own, but it's not exactly what I wanted. I didn't want an animatronic replica. I wanted just a plain and simple Mr. Potato Head. Again, that Toy Story Collection Mr. Potato Head was pretty phenomenal. It kind of makes sense that he's so expensive the way that a lot of those are. Yeah, it's just a normal day for me. In terms of the other characters, though, Mrs. Potato Head, I'm gonna try to do Mrs. Potato Head the best I can. I don't even have the proper earrings for her, so I'm gonna have to do earrings. With Mr. Potato Head, I probably will be sculpting ears, which means Mrs. Potato Head would probably have to have custom sculpted ears too. Um, so there's that. I still have to do her arms like the Mr. Potato Head that I have done. And then, of course, there's the issue of the separate shoes and eyes, which I will get to at a later date. Buzz Lightyear is another one people keep asking me about. Um, with Buzz Lightyear, there's not a whole lot I think I can do. I know that someone out there, or at least a couple of people, have done an arm mod on Buzz Lightyear to make his arms a little bit more posable. I've seen it on Instagram and I've seen it on YouTube. I might try to do that, but if I'm going to do that, I'm going to get another collection Buzz Lightyear. I'm just going to, work on a newer Buzz Lightyear because the one that I have the box still. It's the only one from the collection, the original collection that I have a box for. It's the Blue Clouds box, which it's sitting over here in this room. Buzz Lightyear, there's not much I could do. I do want to do a custom voice chip for him. I want to sit there and, because the collection Buzz Lightyear doesn't say it's a secret mission in uncharted space, let's go, which is definitely from the first movie. I mean, it was in the commercial and they didn't put it in the toy for some reason. And then the newer toys, I know he says it. He says a bunch of this stuff. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm sure that they put so many new phrases into Toy Story 4 is because they wanted to put them into new toys so they could sell more Buzz Lightyears. But Buzz Lightyear is one. I need to make his glow-in-the-dark feature a little bit stronger. I need to redo the stickers on Buzz Lightyear. His stickers are really bad. There might be... I might redo the back hands, and I'm aware of the Tomy real posing Buzz Lightyear, but the problem with that one is, first of all, the hands are ugly. I don't know what's going on. They like articulated. It's like the original Buzz Lightyear, how he only his fingers were stuck together, but they could move at the base of the finger. That one has like articulated fingers and it looks really weird. I don't really care for that one as much. Yes, he's got way better articulation than a standard Buzz Lightyear. I don't know if you're even able to open him up and put electronics inside. And if I were to use that as a base, that means I would have to do the laser and all that. And I don't think his wings look that great. If I remember correctly, his wings look really funny. If I'm thinking of the right Buzz Lightyear. I know there's a couple Buzz Lightyears out there. The wings look really weird. Like the new Disney Store one, they're like half as thin or they're half as thin as they should be. I don't know if that made sense, but they're not as big as the wings are supposed to be. But I definitely redo the stickers, maybe a custom voice chip. Wander's Replica Customs, or whatever his name is on Instagram, who 3D models a lot of his stuff, has a custom Buzz Lightyear head, and I had asked him to do the 1995 Buzz Lightyear head, and he did it. It doesn't look perfect. I want to see if he tweaks it a little bit before I, jump on that and get that one. Am I going to do a video for Mrs. Potato Head? Probably. But I feel like Mrs. Potato Head, I probably should give her her own video. But I'm going to focus on Mr. Potato Head first, because that's the one that I've wanted since I was a little kid. So we'll get to that point eventually. Do you know how to unstick Woody's arm and stitch it back to make it more floppy like in the movies? I don't think so. I have been thinking about that recently. I remember getting the Toy Story collection Woody and just being really disappointed that his arms were like stitched the way they were, because a lot of us noticed, of course, that his arms aren't stitched properly. I've been considering it, but at the same time, I don't really think I personally need it. If I were to do that, it would only be at the shoulders. I can tell you right now, it would only be at the shoulders. But it could get really complicated. I don't know if I'm really wanting to do that to myself. I think for right now, even though they're not perfect, I'm just gonna keep the arms the way that they are on Woody. Other character replicas, I'm trying to think. So, am I going to do Jessie? Well, I was about to talk about some of the other characters, so I guess I'll start with Jessie. Jessie, I have no idea if I'm going to do. I have not owned a Jessie doll probably since I was a kid, if I even had one as a kid. I don't even really remember having one. I will say that I'm focusing on the first movie primarily when it comes to collecting, when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So, Jessie, I want to say yes, because I would very much like to have a Jessie doll on the same level of quality as this Woody doll. My problem is there's not a Jessie doll head that has been made recently. Hold on a second. Okay. There has not been a Jessie doll made recently like the soft and huggable Woody, where his head doesn't attach to a voice box base, if that makes sense. So, there is like a Jessie doll with that same line of toys that the soft and huggable Woody came from, but she doesn't have the yarn hair. I am not going to put it upon myself to re-yarn a Jessie doll's head. I don't feel talented enough to do that. I really would at least like to own a Jessie doll. I mean, that's the first step, right? Is getting a Jessie doll in the first place. But right now, I'm not too focused. I did actually ask for Bullseye for Christmas, though, because I don't think I've had a full-scale Bullseye all my life. So I'm going to probably get Bullseye, hopefully for Christmas. Are you going to get Bo? I don't know if I'm going to get Bo either. They did come out with the Toy Story Collection Bo, but here's the problem with that. Bo Peep is a ceramic figurine from a lamp, and the Toy Story Collection Bo Peep might as well just be Bo Peep from like the 90s when she was just a Barbie doll. I mean, that's basically what they made her. I don't know what her pose abilities even like. I don't know if she's got like Barbie doll articulation, or if she can even be posed in that position. I would love a Bo Peep full scale lamp that lights up the way that it's supposed to, and it has the sheep removable. But also another thing I do want to point out is, any Bo Peep dolls that are going to be made now, because of course now that she's a major character in Toy Story 4, she's going to be designed after her appearance in Toy Story 4, which is completely different from her design and appearance in the first two movies. And like I said, I'm kind of a purist. I prefer the first two Toy Story, well, the first Toy Story movie especially, over anything. So that's kind of what I want my stuff to be based off of. So Bo Peep is also up in the air. Um, Somebody asked about the aliens, and there is a video on YouTube where somebody has custom aliens where they put the squeak toy inside of them. I also do not own the Toy Story collection aliens. I've never owned the aliens like at all. I would like them to be squeak toys if I were to own them. And here's the thing about the aliens that a lot of people, I guess, just ignore or um, uh, don't really care about. Um, they don't have all the different poses that you see that they put into the toys now. They all have the same static pose when they're in toy mode, and I kind of want to replicate that if I do get the aliens, or at least get the one that's closest to that pose. Uh, and of course, I want to do whatever it takes to get those squeakers in place inside of them. Um, so, um, are you going to do? You took off from the Toy Story collection, Woody. So right now, the original voice box and head from the Toy Story collection, Woody, are actually kind of, I guess the word is modgepodged, or there's another term. Hodgepodged is the word that comes to mind first. I kind of, or kit bashes are that toy customizers used. I kind of just shoved it into the soft and huggable body without any stuffing, and zip tied the base of the neck that was original, or the base of the top of the voice box, I guess I should say, is zip tied around there to keep him in there. I was going to stitch this up, but I don't know yet. It's got one of the 3/4 inch, or no, the 1/4 inch rings in the voice box, because that was my original test for that. It's still got batteries in it. It still talks. I don't know exactly what I might do with it. I was thinking at some point I would customize one of the Disney Store Woody bodies I've got laying around, just a tad bit, not as much as mine, and give it to my little brothers. I've got two 3.5-year-old twin brothers, and they are starting to watch the movies and you know, talk about Woody and Buzz and stuff. So I got them a Woody and Buzz for Christmas. But I was thinking about getting them a specialized Woody. I just don't know if they'll take care of it, so I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing that. Someone made a custom voice box with all of Woody's phrases exactly like the movie. If you are talking about, well, a couple of people have done that already, but if you're talking specifically about Divine Child, whatever his full name is, I've actually spoken with him about his voice box. He's the one who made the video about, it's a little white voice box, and got the slow retract and everything. I've seen his voice box. I've talked to him a lot. Not a lot, but we've talked frequently recently, and I really want to get a copy of his voice box. That's the voice box I want inside of my Woody. I have been conflicted lately because he's coming out with his voice box, but he says he might need to do a fundraiser or something in order to have it manufactured, because a lot of these companies, because if you look up custom pull string voice box, what you're going to find is a lot of Chinese manufacturers who do this stuff in bulk for wholesale purchases for toy companies. And basically what that means is they're going to sell you somewhere between 1,000 and 5,000 pieces of the same thing. So we're basically talking, 5,000 Woody voice boxes. And the one he made the video of is a sample that they provided to him of what the final product would be like. He basically has told me that, because, if you're ordering like 3,000 of these voice boxes, it's going to cost a lot of money. And obviously one person isn't going to be able to afford that unless you're rich. So, and this isn't someone who is obviously rich, or like it's not a company that's doing it. It's an individual who's probably like not unlike myself. I mean, I don't have a career set up personally. I'm just doing this as a hobby on the side of what I actually do. That's why it's been taking so many months. And the idea of doing a voice box like that, a fundraiser for that, to get that, is kind of where this community kind of needs to come together. Because I've talked with a lot of people over the past, couple of months about doing this Woody project. Everyone has been doing this kind of thing, and it's really inspiring because, when I was a kid, I thought I was the only person. And, growing up and never getting that exact Woody doll that's, from the movie, it's really frustrating. Like when the Toy Story collection came out, I was really happy because it was the best Woody doll I've ever seen, the best Buzz Lightyear I've ever seen. And yet they were so close to being perfect, and yet there were so many missed opportunities or mishaps that they just didn't take. So we missed out on potential perfect replicas. So when it takes an army of fans to do it on their own steam, it's really cool to see that. Oh god, what happened to my stream? Is everything still going smoothly? Because it just told me it got disconnected. I'll answer these questions as soon as I figure out if I'm still here. Can you guys still hear me out there in the chat? I know there's a delay, but I need to make sure I'm actually being heard. I want to customize my Woody, but I really don't want to break it. I have so many questions I want to answer. I just don't know if I'm even still going. You guys hear me? Okay, well, I've got some pop-ups on my screen. Hopefully this didn't just crash on me. That'd be really sad. I want to customize my Woody, but Okay, cool. You guys can still hear me? Awesome. I see questions. How did you made the rubber bumpers on Woody's hat? So I work at a hardware store, and if you go to Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever your nearest hardware store is, I work at Home Depot, we sell the rubber bumpers. You can also get these things from like a Target or something, but please, I would say get them from a Home Depot or a hardware store near you, because they're probably going to be a lot cheaper than they would be at like a Target or a Walmart or something. I just super glued them in the four corners, quote unquote, in his hat, and that's all it takes. Sometimes they don't stay in there though. You got to be careful. Anywho, so let me send a text real quick and then answer some more questions. So, hi, Spengy the Hedgy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but oh well. How big do you think Woody really is? So, I have seen a couple of people express their opinion on how big they think Woody is in real life compared to the movie. I don't think that the Toy Story collection Woody would have been as big as he is if he wasn't meant to be that big. There's this weird thing where people think Woody is smaller than the 15 or 16 inches that he's supposed to be. And I don't really understand it because, like, the argument is, and I'm going to use, I think his name is Dwayne Fox. If you guys have seen his videos, he's done the custom sculpted Woody based off of the push button Woody from the 90s. And he was talking about it in his video. I think that's his name. I don't remember. But off the top of my head. But anyways, Dwayne, I know his name is Dwayne. Dwayne did his Woody. He says it's going to be about 12 inches tall, which that's completely fine. If that's how he wants to do his Woody, that's how he wants to do his Woody doll. Woody is not 12 inches tall. Buzz Lightyear is 12 inches tall. They have said several times, the cast and the crew who worked on the movie, that Buzz Lightyear is the size of a G.I. Joe action figure, which have always been 12 inches tall. And Woody is much taller than that. He's, at least 5 inches, 5 inches taller than Buzz or so. And they use, people have used a couple of pictures. Like, there's a picture of Woody with a checker in his mouth from that scene in the first movie during the Strange Things song. And everyone just assumes, like, it's a regular size checker, when it could very easily, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a jumbo checkers set, because those exist and people kind of seem to have ignored that. There's also, I think Dwayne used the comparison of Woody in Al's hand at the beginning of Toy Story 2, and he said, like, look how small his head is. Okay, so one thing I instantly thought when I heard him say that was, first of all, Al from Toy Story 2 is a big guy. He's not supposed to be too tall, I don't think, but he's a big, hefty guy. And so he's got these really big hands. The other thing I was thinking to myself is the people in the Toy Story movies, the humans in the Toy Story movies, they don't really have realistic proportions most of the time. I mean, it's still a Disney movie. And so the caricatures of these characters are going to be pretty exaggerated. So with Al being a big guy, they gave him pretty big hands to fit his, like, big guy motif. And it just kind of, like, it seemed really weird to me that people were trying to say that Woody was smaller than he really was. I just didn't really go with it. And if that's to say, if you're saying Woody is supposed to be smaller than he really is in, like, a lot of those toys, then you're kind of basically saying that the toys that have been coming out since 1995, when the first movie came out, those are all incorrect, and they've always been incorrect, which drives me kind of crazy because they came out with the Toy Story collection. And if you really look at the Toy Story collection, Mr. Potato Head, with, of course, the shortened legs, because he's got legs on that toy, which always drove me nuts. But if you really look at that Mr. Potato Head in comparison to a regular Mr. Potato Head, most of the pieces, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are pretty similar in size. And it's the body is just shaped a little bit differently so that, like, there's more room for the eyes and eyebrows. But really, if you look at them, they're all about the same size. Maybe just a tad bit bigger. Rex the dinosaur is another good one. Rex is almost, I think he's about the size of Woody almost. He's a big, big toy. And Ham is a lot. He's about the same height as Mr. Potato Head when he's on all fours. And that's one thing I've been noticing is that Ham, the piggy bank, they've only made the one true size Ham bank from when they came out in the Disney store in like 2010. You also got to look at like Woody standing next to Slinky Dog, because I'm pretty sure Slinky Dog is the exact same size as the real life toy in the movie, and like Etch-a-Sketch and all of that. Really, and that's not to say that the Toy Story Collection Woody doll, because they shortened the height of the Toy Story Collection Woody doll by an inch or so over the years. And I think that is kind of a testament to maybe they did something wrong, or maybe they were correcting something. I don't know, but they've definitely shortened Woody over the years. So if you think Woody's too tall, like the original dolls have been too tall, then I mean they at least shortened him up a little bit compared to what he used to be. I'm gonna stop ranting on that now because because I'm kind of done talking about it, in all honesty. What kind of paint did you use for Woody's hair? So when it came to Woody's hair, I only painted the streaks on his hair, and I use Vallejo, Valleo, or wow, EO, I'm gonna put it in the chat so you know. In the chat there, that's the brand of paint that I use for Woody's hair. Although I matched it up to the Toy Story Collection Woody doll hair, and I had to mix a couple of different paints. I would lean more towards 14 to 16 inches too. That's kind of more accurate, I believe. What Rex do I have? I have that, it's the simple plastic Rex that they sell at Walmart right now. I bought it when Toy Story 3 was out, but it's the simple plastic figure. He doesn't have a movable jaw, and he's a lot shorter than he's probably supposed to be. Before anyone else asks, I have one of the Slinky Dogs that came in the retro packaging. I got him in 2007 for Christmas. I have the new Ham Bank that's at Target stores right now. You've all seen what Woody, Buzz, and Potato Head I have, so I don't have to tell you that. I have the only thing I have that's technically signature collection are the Bucket of Soldiers, because I can't find my old Bucket of Soldiers. I don't know what happened to them, but I had I believe it was the Blue Clouds tub of soldiers, and I don't know what happened. I think I packed it away and lost it. I've got a simple Etch-a-Sketch, and that's all that has really stayed. Well, I also got a 1995 Potato Head. And I also have a 20th anniversary Toy Story Mr. Potato Head in the box in my case. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, because I've really wanted to do this for a while. I'm pulling up my newest video on my phone, and I'm gonna read some questions and answer them here, whether or not the people who actually asked me them initially are still watching, or if they're watching at all. So Guzfraba Studios, if I'm saying that right. Oh, he's in here. I was just about to read your question. My question is, what motivates you to keep making progress? I've been procrastinating on my own projects and want your advice. So, like I said earlier, I've wanted this Woody doll and this Mr. Potato Head, and accurate Toy Story toys since I was a little kid. This has been a burning passion stewing inside of me for 23 years. Um, and one of the things that just keeps me going is I want to make it the best it can be. Woody is a very special character to me and to a lot of people, and so I want to do him justice by making a really truly phenomenal physical representation of what he was in the movie. And Mr. Potato Head was my favorite childhood toy, and he's probably my favorite character in the movies. Um, and so of course I want a replica of him. Um, what do I use to keep motivating myself? It's hard because I see a lot of other people wanting the same thing, and that always keeps me going. That's something that I definitely I see other people doing it, and I want to make mine, you know, just as good. I want to make my Woody just as good to me as other people customizing them are trying to make them, perfect for them. Like Dwayne said in his video, he's trying to make his Woody doll for him and him alone, something that's very special and sentimental to him. I want to do that same thing for myself because I'm already looking at this Woody doll on a daily basis, and it just makes me so happy to finally see that childhood dream realized, and it makes me excited for when I get Mr. Potato Head started, or whatever work I do to Buzz Lightyear, that kind of stuff. The end idea of what it's going to be like is mainly what keeps me going. But it's not like another thing that keeps me going is that I'm trying new things. I'm casting parts. I casted that badge for Woody, and it's crazy. I really like exploring a new. I feel like it's hard to explain. I'm trying so hard to come out with words, but they're all trying to like escape at once. What I will say right now is, did I keep you in suspense at all? Wow, I'm just at a loss for words now because this is something that I'm good at, and it can get kind of difficult trying to find things in this crazy world that you're good at, but not only you're good at it, it's unique to you. That's kind of like the big thing for me, is like this movie for me is extremely important, and um I have a ton of friends in the Lego community who do custom Lego figures, and they're huge because of it. And I was, doing Lego things for a long, long time because have a passion for Lego as well. And trying to fit in with that community was always tough because here are all these very, very talented people doing all these things that I just couldn't do. I couldn't pull it off. And it kind of made me feel like a fish out of water when we hung out, because it was just like I'm hanging out with a lot of people who do Lego customization, and I don't really do that. I just kind of have Lego in my possession. Now, doesn't mean that these guys aren't my friends because they're like better at customizing than me or something, but it's this whole Toy Story related thing. Um, it's unique to me, kind of. I mean, it's not unique to me and me alone, but it is something that is a passion of mine, and that's what makes me unique, I guess, is that I'm trying to do something that I love and something that I'm good at. Like I said, that was a whole stretch. I'm trying to explain it the best I can, but it's been kind of difficult. Let's answer another question. Okay. So, Mr. Marshmallow Man, I don't know if you're still watching, but you asked me in this video, what do you think of the Toy Story community, like collectors and custom mock makers, and would you ever consider making a community or a Discord um, to interact more with your fans? Um, I'm trying to do more to interact with my fans. I feel like this is a good step in the right direction. The Toy Story community so far has been great. Everyone's, lashing out with these creative ideas and coming up with all these really cool, unique Woody dolls, and everyone's making them, you know, unique to them. Like I said, my doll is unique to me. Dwayne's doll is unique to him. Alien Arts, his Woody doll is unique to him. And yes, I have seen it. I did see your question. But it's just really cool to see all the different results that people are coming out with. My arm came off of my Woody just like in the movie, and it was same arm. It was the same arm, so I restitched it with red. So I have seen that some people have done that, and even went to the point of putting Andy on the boot. So I didn't want to make the Woody doll that Andy had in the movies. I wanted to make a replica of what Woody was in the movies, but like a different Woody than Andy's Woody, if that makes sense. Like, it's my own Woody doll. I'll answer another question here. Will you do collabs with different people and comparisons? Like Today I Grew Up. I feel like Today I Grew Up is way over my head right now. I have been talking to Alien Arts a lot, and he's pretty cool. And Picasso, I think is his name. He's been doing a custom Mr. Potato Head. He actually shouted me out in one of his videos, so that's pretty cool. The updates on Mr. Potato Head are that there are no updates. I haven't done anything with him. I'm considering getting the what's his name? Squirrel Props or Squirrel Customs or something. He does the Mr. Potato Head eyes for the collection Potato Head. I'm thinking of getting those for my Potato Head. After Christmas, I will definitely start focusing more on Mr. Potato Head. John Coaster asked me, why am I good at this? I didn't want to... Why are you so good at this? He asks. I wouldn't say that I'm good at this. I'm definitely in the learning process. Somebody in this chat earlier said that they wanted to make a custom Woody doll, but they didn't want to ruin their Woody. It is, for me at least, it was kind of intimidating to even start this. And I think that's part of the reason why I procrastinated at first, because the collection Woody doll that I have is like the first edition collection Woody doll. So he's a lot more valuable than the current collection Woody doll. Like, my doll still has the denim pants, and I believe that they switched over to a printed cotton fabric for the Woody doll that they sell now. Basically, I have the top tier, in my opinion. I have the top tier collection doll Woody. And that is part of why I was slow at starting my process with this Woody doll, because I bought the soft and huggable Woody and painted the face and just kind of left it for a while because I really didn't know how to approach this whole process. I made sure to get a voice box before I did anything. And I mean, tearing out that head, it's such a pain. It was really difficult to do that. And once I started doing it, there was no going back. There was no, I'm going to give up halfway through or any of that. I had to finish this, and I had to keep pushing myself to get better at it. But all of it was trial and error. I mentioned in my newest video that I did definitely regret the way that I installed the new hands. I definitely should have waited. Somebody on YouTube, I'm trying to think of who it was. It was a video I think it's newer, but somebody made a Woody doll where they didn't even remove the collection doll's hands. What he ended up doing is he just cut the in between the fingers and then heated it up to separate them. And I was pretty impressed by that. I didn't even think about that. That probably would have made him look really, really good. Before I go on any further, are you going to put a real gem on the holster? There's already a real gem on the holster. Was he already in? Did I already talk about that in a video? Because I don't remember. But anyways, the hands I wish I had done differently. But other than that, everything has been turning out great. The buttons, the pearl snaps, could have been done probably a little bit closer together. And they're one of them is slightly off center, but that's such a pain in the butt process that, that's what it's gonna be for the rest of time. But I've seen other people do things like they re-threaded the hat, or they're like redoing the a lot of people added like a black wash to the boots. I'm trying to find reference pictures to see how they look, but I didn't find anything that I liked that made it clear that he had black wash on the feet. Are you going to make me more floppy? I'm not going to make you more floppy, Demonic Waffle. I don't know how I would go about doing that. Man, I need to take a drink, guys. I'm thirsty. I've been talking so much. Are you going to make him more floppy? First of all, I think his legs are floppy enough. His arms, I don't think I'm going to worry about that right now. Making him more floppy, rethreading the hat. There's so many things that other people do that I just don't really feel like is completely necessary for me. If somebody comes out with a really good way to make him more floppy, or let's pretend somebody comes out with something random like I'm releasing these exact replica of Woody's arms, but only his arms, or something like that. Maybe I'll look into it. But let me say that with the replacing of the hands, I'm extremely amateur at sewing. I would not even go as far to say I'm good at sewing at all. I kind of don't really think I'm good at it at all. So I probably wouldn't do so well if I were to try to replace his arms. Also, I will clarify, I think I already said something about this on one of my other videos, but I will clarify the belt buckle and the spurs are supposed to be kind of like a dry tan color instead of like the gold color. That's not something I care about fixing. I think that the badge in the movies is more of like a metallic orange-ish color more than an actual straight up gold color. Because I've got gold paint, a lot of gold paint, different kinds of gold paint, and I've been looking at it and I'm just like, man, if I paint this color, because like the collection badge is kind of goldish, or brass or whatever you want to call it. Go to Action Custom Action Figure Hub's Instagram. He made his more floppy. I'm sure he did. I know a lot of people have done it. I just don't think it's like too. Um, Hold on, where is it? You said it's Action Figure Hubs. Yeah, I've seen this. I don't know if I'm gonna use leather cording for my hat threading. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I feel like leather cording would probably last longer than um, the yarn or whatever, the string that they used for the hat. But I've seen the problem with just taking off his arms and then re-sewing his arms. Um, is that they're not shaped properly. So the ends of them are supposed to be squared, whereas these arms were designed to have that kind of curve at the shoulder, which he's not supposed to have. Um, but I think they did that because his arms probably wouldn't go straight down. The Mattel Woody, if I pull him out, I mean, the Mattel Woody could also be better sewn together, but his arms are kind of, at least at the shoulder, are stitched in the way Woody's are stitched in the movies, kind of, and they're not really, they don't lay down at the sides really well. They kind of flop around the to the front and the back, so it doesn't look all that great. And I think that's why they designed that collection doll the way they did. Um, I wish someone would make Woody hat like it is in the movie. So the the Medicom Woody hat is probably the best Woody hat out there. I wouldn't know because I can't afford that Woody doll to own it. But the collection Woody dolls hat's probably the next best thing. The only real problem with that collection Woody hat is those stupid holes in the back that they put in there to keep it in the box or whatever. Always drove me nuts. And I casted another Woody badge tonight, but it's a little dirty. It's a little the mold itself, or I shouldn't say the mold, but the cast itself came out a little dirty. I think there was something gross in that. Um, Something was probably in the cup that I used to mix the resin. Yeah, it's just kind of gross. Maybe next time I will try. It's not plastic in the movie. Um, I mean, I didn't think it was plastic. I mean, it's the hat that the collection doll has is like a soft plastic. It's not like a hard plastic because a lot of people don't realize that plastic can come in a lot of different forms. I mean, Woody's head is a type of plastic, vinyl. It's a lot softer than just any other kind of plastic. I feel like that's sort of the same material that his hat is made out of. Um, in real life, I feel like any other kind of material that you would try to make Woody's hat would just kind of be easily ruined. Like if you were to try to use like I don't even know what you would use, but like other than like that soft plasticky material, it's definitely not rubber. The Disney Store Woody doll hat basically feels rubber to me, and it's just kind of gross. Like a lot of the old Woody dolls hats were plastic, like a hard plastic, and that's not right. And there's so many different materials you could really make Woody's hat out of, but I feel like a soft plastic, like a malleable, easy flexible plastic. I mean, plastic probably isn't the right term for it, but I feel like the collection doll, if it's the same material on the Metacom doll or whatever Woody's used the same, like the collection doll that I have, I feel like that's a pretty good material for his hat. Are you talking about the collection hats, or are um you talking about just Woody doll hats in general? Because like the one that came with where is it? The one that came with this Disney Store Woody doll. The one that came with this Disney Store Woody doll is an extremely soft plastic, but it doesn't have any holes in it. The soft and huggable one has holes in a different but they're on the top on this one. Uh Making your hat from latex. Ooh, that's interesting. In the movie, it flaps in the wind and stuff. I mean, just because they make it the way that they make it doesn't mean that's how it's supposed to be in the movie. But for me personally, like when so a couple of things I have been thinking about, like Woody's hat. Uh, you know, Woody's hat in the movie flaps in the wind and stuff. You got to remember that this is like a movie. They're trying to do stuff that's visually interesting. So like if you notice Woody's scarf, the knot in the back of his scarf is always in the same position. And any Woody doll that I've ever had, first of all, has not had a knot that looked that good. And it's always in the same position. His holster's always jiggling. His ring on the pull string is always jiggling and stuff. And they do certain things to look visually interesting. And I have been thinking about how animators do that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, it could be made out of a material that's easily moved by the wind, or it could also be just something that they do to be visually interesting. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like Woody, a lot of the times when he like backs up against a wall with his hat on, in the movies, like in the first the first scenes in Toy Story 3 where he's going after the trash bags, when he first leans up against that wall, like when he says like it's not trash, his hat automatically kind of goes to the back of his head. And if you were to do that with a real Woody doll, it's probably going to fall like forward over his face and probably fall off. And like the way that Woody flops around and stuff, they do it to be visually interesting and not really follow laws of physics or whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking too much into it. It's a movie. That's my point. Are you able to rub the Vallejo paint off for his hair streaks? Um, are you talking about removing the streaks themselves? Because what I did is I went over my Woody doll face with a varnish so that the paint wouldn't come off, at least not easily, because I don't want it to come off. Um, like I want to keep it on there. Thank you, Adrian. I take that as a compliment. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't want to remove the paint off for his hair. If that's what you're getting at, I'm not really. I didn't have to remove any paint for his hair streaks. I just painted them over the actual. I love it when people throw in insults into like these chats. First of all, you're using the wrong form of your, sir. Let me. It's that. That's the proper form of your. Also, fat loser. Trust me, I'm anything but fat. I'm actually too skinny. So, I think he's talking to me if I had to guess. Oh, thank you. I really like the badge I made too. I think it looks so much better than what we've been given. I will say that the pin aspect of it is pretty cool. Um, if I were to sell it online, if people were interested enough to buy it, um, I'd probably it probably could also double as just like an accessory pin for like backpacks and stuff. You don't have to put it on a Woody doll or a Jessie doll or anything like that. You can put it on your shirt if you wanted to. What am I going to do to Buzz? I talked about this earlier, but I'm gonna go over it again. So anything that I do to Buzz, because I have my original Buzz Lightyear, and he is a first edition Blue Clouds Buzz Lightyear. I still have the box. So if I do anything to him, it's going to be probably fixing up some of the little paint errors on him. Um, that I have, maybe fixing some of the scuffs in him, cleaning him up a little bit. New stickers. Um, really, for my original Buzz Lightyear, that's probably going to be it. I don't know if I really want to do more to him. I want to get another Buzz Lightyear and maybe sell it. Not sell it. What am I talking about? I want to get a new Buzz Lightyear to work on it and to customize it. I'd buy a collection Buzz Lightyear. Looking at the signature collection Buzz Lightyears that they sell now, I'd have to go out and pick one where his eyes are actually looking straight, because a lot of them, his eyes are looking off to the side, and that's a huge pet peeve of mine, is I can't stand it when toys do that. I'd get a new Buzz Lightyear. I'd like to do a head swap. I mean, I guess if I'm doing a head swap, I'd have to be certain I'm doing a head swap. That's the thing, because there is that Wanders guy who's doing the custom Buzz Lightyear heads from like Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 1 and all that stuff. I definitely want to do the Toy Story 1 Buzz Lightyear head, because I think that's my favorite one. And I would do a custom sound chip. I'd want him to say, at least there's a secret mission in Uncharted Space, that whole line, because um, um, Crap, what was I saying? Yeah, I got tired of looking at that, so it kept distracting me. Buzz Lightyear, that's right. I'd get a separate Buzz Lightyear. I'd do this. I'd like to do a sound chip, a custom sound chip, so he says some of the more modern phrases. I kind of try to do things based on the first Toy Story, but I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite things about Toy Story 4, if you guys didn't know, I'm not a huge fan of the fourth Toy Story. There are a lot of things that I like that came from it, but the movie itself, I'm not crazy about. I do like the phrases that Buzz Lightyear says. I thought his plot line in that movie was kind of dumb, but I do like all those phrases. So I'd want my Buzz Lightyear to say those phrases. I might do an arm mod. There was a part of me at one point, because I saw a picture of a prototype Buzz Lightyear, like an original Buzz Lightyear prototype from 1995, where he actually had the rubber waist and rubber shoulders, because supposedly those black bands around his shoulders are supposed to be rubber, I guess. I didn't think they were rubber growing up, but I guess that they're supposed to be rubber. I'd customize the arms if I could. That'd be kind of painful. I really wish there was a way for me to customize his hands to be ball jointed. Because Buzz Lightyear being an action figure in the movie, the real life toys have always kind of fallen flat. At least in the arms of Buzz Lightyear have fallen flat, because they just never articulated him the way he's supposed to be articulated in the movie. The new Disney Store Buzz has all the sayings in the movies, I think. I know that because there's one in my closet right now. It's actually a present for my brother for Christmas. Actually, I'm going to go get it just because I can. Okay, so I went and grabbed the Buzz Lightyear from the Disney Store, and I've got him right here.
Laser at full power.
And he does say some of the things from Toy Story 4.
Approaching destination. Re-engaging gravity. Area secure. Buzz Lightyear at your service. Everyone take cover. To infinity and beyond.
Here we go.
It's a secret mission in uncharted space. Let's go. No time to explain. Attack. The slingshot maneuver is all we've got. Full speed ahead. This planet is toxic. Closing heaven to conserve us.
Alright, I'm putting him back. So that's that Disney Store Buzz Lightyear. Well, I'll just leave him here for now. But the Disney Store Buzz Lightyear is kind of interesting because it's the first Buzz Lightyear I know of, at least, to have the karate chop action on top of the other features that Buzz Lightyear normally has. Like, he's got the laser, he's got the wrist communicator, he's got wings that are like half the size of what they should be. He's the only Buzz Lightyear I've ever seen that does the helmet thing. It's only half of what his helmet should do in the movies. But that's just... It's just interesting. Yet there's a lot of stuff that I'm not crazy about with that Buzz Lightyear. Alright, so does anyone else have any questions before I go ahead and get off here for the night? Doesn't have to be Toy Story related, doesn't have to be project related, it can be about anything, but... There's some Buzz Lightyears that do nothing but the karate chop. Yeah, I've seen the one that came out for Toy Story 4 with the soft and huggable Woody, and he was... I don't even think he has the actual button on his back. I'm pretty sure you just lift his arm up and then chop. I think that's all it is. But what I think I noticed about the Disney Store Buzz, I think it's the same Buzz Lightyear, but there's a Buzz Lightyear, if it's this one, it doesn't even use the whole purple button on his back. It's just that little gray button in the middle that they use for the karate chop. Do you like Forky? Forky's okay. I don't really dislike him. He's kind of more of a plot device in Toy Story 4. Like, he's not... He's okay. He's not the thing I didn't like about Toy Story 4. But I will tell you right now, he's a lot better in Toy Story 4 than in the Forky Asks a Question series. I really cannot stand that series so far. I watched all of the shorts that have come out so far, and I'm not okay with it. It's fine. I'll give it a couple more minutes, and then I'll probably get off, guys. So, if you want to get some last second questions in, now's your time to shoot your shot. Are you going to do a full review of your Woody? I would like to do an edited overview of the Woody doll, what I've done to him, what progress I have made on him. The thing about that is I'm going to wait until I get a voice box made. Whether it's a custom one that I build myself, if I can figure that out, or if it's the Divine Child's voice box, or, however it happens. I would wait until I at least had a voice box. There's probably some other things I'd want to do to the doll, but other than that, as long as I have a custom voice box in there with the Tom Hanks quotes, I'm going to do it. Toy Story collection. Yes, indeedy. Oh, is that your Instagram tag? Oh, by the way, guys, before I get off, I would like to, for those of you who don't know, I do have an Instagram that is specific to my Toy Story stuff. It's called Cowboy Crunchies. So I'm going to put that in the chat. If you guys want to check out pictures of my customs or my Toy Story collection, you can go ahead and do it there. If I like what you guys have on your pages and stuff, I will probably most likely follow you back. Let me just get over to my Cowboy Crunchies Instagram. I've only got a few posts. The account is it's only like a week old, but I'll be sure to Are you the one with the underscores? Because there's a couple of the Toy Story collection pages. I don't know which one's you, but have you done anything to Mr. Potato Head? Not since I did the arms and did the first video, in all honesty. I haven't done a whole lot with him. I'm waiting until after Christmas because I've asked for some tools and stuff for Christmas that I'm probably going to use to work on Mr. Potato Head. After that, I'm going to actually start working on casting the Toy Story collection parts and making custom shoes and whatnot. Hmm. Okay. All right.